Alright. I should have stopped my timers a little bit ago. Alright guys, let's go over this a little bit. Did we go through this spoiler-free? Yeah. As much as you can for already beating it before. There were a couple things that people shouted out, but nothing major. I would say that we played it pretty spoiler-free considering what I remembered about the game, which was very little. Alright, so the music rating in this game. What game should you choose? Oh man, Rio, you're so psyched. I love the music in this game. It's really good. Nothing's really overly repetitive or anything like that. It was really well done. There was a bunch of different themes. There was a bunch of different dungeon themes and stuff like that. I would say like the normal dungeons that you go through had some of the more boring music of the OST, but like the lighthouses and everything else and the major towers and things like that had really good music. I would listen to a lot of this type of stuff and add it to a list. So just like most games that I've been giving high ratings for when it comes to music, this is like an 8.59 for me. And whenever it comes to the music, I'll always round it up. So I'm gonna give it a 9. There were some tracks that I think they could have done better, and maybe in the second game they will, and we'll see. Well, I'll highlight that green later, so it doesn't really matter. Graphics for the era. Okay, so I don't remember a whole lot of GBA JRPGs, but from what I can tell, the graphics weren't too bad. The dungeon layouts and designs and puzzles and stuff like that were really well done. They incorporated the use of your magic and stuff like that throughout the game in the dungeons as well, and in the puzzles, and it was really cool. And those aspects of the graphics were interesting. I feel like the world map was probably one of the most lacking aspects of like the graphics. It just looked kind of funky, and the places almost looked like they were just like I don't know, like a toy or something like that placed on it. But overall, it wasn't that bad. I would say that the graphics were about a 7 or so for me. The game wasn't really like beautiful a majority of the time, is a good way of putting it. It was like mostly a solid palette in a lot of different areas, but it did have some really cool designs and stuff like that. It was really well done. So I would probably say the graphics, in my opinion, were one of the weaker aspects of the game, but I'm comparing it to other stuff, not just the GBA and things like that of its time, so we'll give that a 7. Alright, so the story rating. I didn't mind the story of the game. My biggest issue with it is that it was basically half the game. And after I play the second one, maybe we'll conclude and I'll be happy with it. But as of right now, it's just half the game. It wasn't a bad half, but it was half the game. Way too much dialogue in this game. I feel like the characters were kind of treating me like I was a complete idiot and was not reading what they were saying. And I had to make sure that I was reading what they were saying 15 different times before they let me progress. And that's okay, like, maybe at the start of the game when you're starting to get used to it or something like that, or maybe a little bit further with a really key part to figure out where you need to go next or anything like that. But the game, like, had way too much dialogue that was just unnecessary. It wasn't needed. To give you the options of selecting things and feeling like you actually made an impact by making decisions and stuff like that, which you didn't, because it didn't affect anything other than maybe a tiny bit of dialogue. It really was just tedious to go through and read, and in that case it made the more important aspects of the story kind of dull. So I'd say I'd definitely take away a couple points for that, and the fact that it was like half of a game overall, so I'd say it was about a 6.57 for me. It was a really solid game. It didn't really incorporate the side quests too much. Like, I felt like the side quests were actually parts of the story that you had to do, but then the game's just like, nope, you don't gotta do those things. We made you think you had to, but you don't really have to. So I kind of wish that they were mandatory. I'm not a big side quest person, but I would have liked to see what happened with the characters. You go through the forest, you save the tree, but you never have to go back and talk to the guy that asked you to do it. Just little things like that. Things weren't done to completion in some cases, so I'm gonna give it a 7. Mechanics rating. This was interesting, and I intentionally did not mess with it as much in this game as I will in the next game. You can mix and match stuff to create classes and things like that. You can set the digits right before battle. You can mess around with the different equipment that gives you certain effects and things like that. have way different magics and everything else than I did, and there's so much to explore, but I wanted to go through the game the way I did when I originally played it, when I didn't understand those things and stuff like that. And the fact that that you're not hindered by doing something like that as well, is a really strong point for this game. I really like that aspect. It's cool that they mix magic and, like, your psychic powers is a good way of putting it. They're kind of like two different things in a way, and you've got more stuff. It's not just like you use stuff outside of battle and can't use it in battle. I like the fact that you can summon stuff as well. They incorporated that, and as you're like using those, which are very, very strong, you become weaker in battle as a character as well. So it's a really, interesting mechanic to the game, and I kind of wish it was explored in more games. It's probably one of the more interesting battle systems and stuff like that as well. It's very fast-paced. Way too many battles in the game, though. Way too many goddamn battles. So I'm going to say that it was like a solid 7.5 going on 8. It's probably one of my favorite mechanical systems so far out of all the games that we played. I just enjoyed it. Well, see, that's the thing. When it says to be continued, you know there's going to be another game. But does it work as a standalone? Sure. You obviously want to know more, but think of, like, let's talk about the Kingdom Hearts games and stuff like that and how they ended. It works as a standalone game in itself. Maybe not as much as those games because it really was half a story, but I don't know. Overall, I feel like if you were going to play one of the games of the series, you'd probably want to play the next one as well. But I think you could play Golden Sun and really enjoy it. I really do. It's a game I'd recommend to people, even if they choose not to play the next one. And I think that's something that always makes it a higher rating in my mind. Alright, so the grinding rating. I don't really feel you needed to grind. I ran from a crap ton of battles in the game, but there were a lot of forced encounters that were a bit silly that had to do with the puzzles and stuff like that, and there was way too many goddamn battles in this game. I understand, like, the aspect of really old school JRPGs, you take a couple steps, you get in a fight and things like that, but it's not necessary. I mean, that was just something that was in old school games. It's very unnecessary to do. You don't get enough experience to make it really worth it. It's time consuming, and even if you kill the enemies as quickly as possible with magic and stuff like that, like I was doing, you're still fighting so many battles that it takes so much time that it's just quicker to hope to run away and progress with the story and get everything else done. Especially when you're in the middle of solving a puzzle. Who wants to get into a fight, take 2 steps, don't even get to push anything or do anything else, and get into another fight? That's always frustrating and annoying, and that's an aspect I don't like. So, although you don't really have to grind in the game, I would say that there's just way too many battles and you're gonna end up getting into them one way or another. So yeah, I'm gonna give it about a 5 or a 6, I'm gonna say. And I think I've been, like, messing around with my ratings a little bit the last couple times. That's something I want to talk about a little bit, but I'll do it after the grinding rating is something I have to look into, and I might change those. It's not something I keep in track with my overall rating, but it's something I really want to go over a little bit. So what do we got? 22, 31. Get a calculator out for you guys too. Alright, so that overall puts it about like a 7.75 for me, going on an 8, so that's pretty accurate for how I felt about it. I'll give it the 8. It's a really, really, really good game. I really liked it. Alright guys, let me set up a straw poll for you, so you guys can vote as well. Bear with me, I normally have this type of stuff set up ahead of time, but I couldn't. I like to see what you guys think as well. And while you guys are voting, I'll go over a little bit of the grinding rating that I was doing. Alright guys, go ahead and take a moment to vote, if you don't mind. Alright, so I felt like when I was originally doing this, I was saying that the grinding rating, the higher the number, the better. And the lower the number, but I think I switched it around part of the way when I was going through it. I can't remember whether I was going higher number or not. I'll have to go back and watch my VOD, and you guys might see the grinding rating change slightly. I'll get it more into my head for what I've been going through. I think I might have switched it part of the way through. Let's see. Blue Dragon did require a lot of grinding. I think the lower the number, the worse. I think I want to go back to the higher numbers. Low number equals good, then we change to the high number equals good. But Lufio, you did, again, the first version. Okay. So, I'll go back through, and we'll say that a higher number equals good, just because it's easier to remember. The less of a grinding that you have to do, the better. So we'll look at that. Yeah, and lower the number means it's more required grinding. So that's sitting at about a 6 is okay, and this I'd move up and things like that. But I'll change that on my own time. All right, let me look at the results, you guys, and then we'll start the raffle, since I know that's what a majority of you guys are waiting for. All right. Doesn't look like we got any really low votes. That's always a good sign. And it looks like you guys overall gave it an 8 as well, so you guys are in agreement with me. Normally, you guys are a little bit higher, but will I replay this game? I don't know. You know, I've played it twice now. I didn't really remember it too much. It still sits with me as a game that I really enjoyed as a kid, even though I can't quite remember all the aspects why anymore. I do remember really enjoying the combat system. I remember the fun, being able to fight with your friends and stuff like that as well was really cool. So I probably won't play this in the future. But I am looking forward to Golden Sun 2. Which, it might be called that, it might not, I'm not sure. Alright, so today is the 18th. It took us 18 hours, 52 minutes, and 5 seconds. And let's get the raffle started. Yeah, it was a really cool concept, because you could mix and match your party in any way that you really wanted. And it was just fun in general. Alright guys, it's raffle time. Just as an explanation for you guys there. Alright, all you have to do is type in the word raffle. If you type in the word raffle, you will be entered to win. If you win, you get to pick the next game that I play in my Grand JRPG Tour. There is no limit to the amount of times that you win. You can win multiple times in a row. And you can pick whatever's on the list that hasn't been picked already. Other than Earthbound. Earthbound is going to actually be the last game that I play on this list. That is the decision that I think I came to. It's either going to be Earthbound or Chrono Trigger, and as of right now, I'm leaning towards Earthbound, so... Hopefully no one's disappointed. I might stream that at some point in time anyway. That's not related to it, but... But again, guys, even if you're lurking and things like that, if you love watching JRPGs, I highly recommend just typing in the word Raffle. You've got the chance of winning. You can pick the next game that I play. And we'll let this go for a little bit. And thanks again for voting and everything like that, guys. Alright, so... Suikoden, I remember having to grind some. Saga Frontier, we definitely had to grind. Shining Force, we didn't. Lunar, that's pretty accurate. We didn't have to grind in Grand Stream Saga at all. We just kind of ran through, but there's a lot of really annoying encounters. Skies of Arcadia. I think that might have been where I started doing the reverse. I did have to grind a lot in Xenoblade Chronicles, and there was way too many battles in Shining Force 2. But you didn't really have to grind. Skies of Arcadia was the same way. Where did I start doing this at? Blue Dragon I did have to grind a lot. In Xenogears I didn't really have to grind, but there was a lot of fights. Arc the Lad. Way too many fights. Okay, I think this is where I messed up more than anything. Alright guys, we'll give it about 30 more seconds, and then we will roll it and see who wins. So if you want to get in last second, I highly recommend it. I did grind a little bit, but it wasn't really required, but there was a lot of fights, but they were all avoidable, so we'll give it an 8. In Golden Sun, if I was going to give it a 6 on the low end. Alright. Alright. Hopefully you guys are ready. I hope everybody that wanted to enter did. We'll give a countdown of 5. Good luck, everyone. Alright. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck, guys. Oh, jeez. We know what's going on here. So, Zoe, you want to let everyone know what game we're playing? Did I even spell it right? I don't think I did. How do you spell it? It's the 4th one, right? Yeah, pick Earthbound, the one game I said please don't pick. I do want to play the Dot Hack games. I did spell it right, I guess. Alright, guys. So the next game is going to be Dark Cloud, which was picked by Aaron or Aaron. I never really got an answer as to how to pronounce his name correctly, or if I did, I forget, and that's my bad. And then after that, it's Daisuke F4, picked by ZMac808, Zoe herself. Congrats again, ZMac, for winning the raffle. I've never beaten one. I've only ever played the first one a little bit. Alright, that's gonna do it for me tonight, guys. I'm gonna find somebody to host you guys with. I really appreciate everyone sticking around to the end of the game. Even though it had that abrupt conclusion and pretty much ended with half a game, we managed to beat it. It only took us 2 days. That's not too bad, if only every game was like that. Alright, who are we gonna host here? Let's see. I think I know who I'm gonna host. I'm gonna host Toucan Sham. He is doing some Earthbound Raced. He's got some gerbils on screen. But either way, you guys know I like Earthbound, so I'm gonna send you over to him. Thank you so much for stopping by. Probably try and start Dark Cloud tomorrow. If not tomorrow, Tuesday for sure. So thank you so much for stopping by, guys. I hope to see you next time, and have a great rest of your weekend.